country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Paint a country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Okay, firstly, I gotta address apologetics. It doesn't make sense, I'm not sorry, I don't get it. The fact that he was crucified means that we're all indebted. We should demand to have a culture that doesn't soon forget it. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess it. Christ is king, listen up, get the message. The time is short, the deception is impressive. The church itself is corrupted and wretched. They preach about grace, no righteousness expected. God gaze at the Pope because their sin is accepted. The devil calls, they don't even try to reject it. They're employed by Satan.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Main Character Podcast, level 28. The party bus is leaving the station. Sorry, if it's first thing in the morning for you, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Party bus, party bus, party bus. Party bus time up in this place. Like trying not to instantly open the swear jar. Oh man, what is up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome back to the Main Character Podcast, level 28, the little season party bus. We are super happy to be here. We are celebrating 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Amazing. You only get to celebrate this one time. This might as well be 1 million. Mr. Beast, eat my socks, bro. Yeah.
Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't trying to sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is.
Yeah, we're having a good time, dude. I'm already super stoked for this 1,000 subs. Thank you all so much for being here. Let's go ahead, pop over to the chat and say hi to everybody. How we doing, everybody? Welcome in. I'm just going to start up here at the top. Let's go back as far as we can. We've got Truth Unfiltered, The Rev, my man. Welcome in, brother. Good to see ya. We've got Val, Durubantu. I like that name. That sounds really cool. I probably didn't say it right, but you can enjoy my accent from nowhere. I don't know. Maybe that was like from somewhere in Africa. Durubantu. You know, they said there's a huge conflict going on in the Congo right now. Not trying to change the subject or anything, but crazy. That's Africa. What's up, Sean, my friend? How you doing? Any seats left on the bus? You know what's crazy about this party bus? It goes on forever. People are going to be getting on the party bus tomorrow. The party is going to still be going. The bus is so long that it wraps all the way around the circle of the earth. And it's like, 24-hour sun on the party bus or whatever. That's all. What's up, Little Season Fellowship? Welcome in. Did you know the 4 evangelists have symbols? Mark's is the griffin. Right on, brother Mark. I'm glad that we both enjoy the griffin. It's a very cool symbol, if you ask me. Coriander, welcome in. I'm here walking down a small mountain with headphones, stoking on the party bus vibes already. Let's go. Mama Khan in the chat, welcome in. Good to see ya. Blessed Mommy, welcome in. Not to be confused with my mommy. What's up, Pearl? Good to see ya. We got everybody popping in. We got Susie. What's up? Adrienne. Party bus. Let me just hit that air horn one more time. Party bus. Woo! Party bus. Party bus. Party bus. Oh, yeah. I picked up a soundboard before I started tonight because I figured we were going to need some air horns for the party bus. I hope it's good and loud. It's loud for me, I'll tell you that. Doctor Who, what's up, my friend? Welcome in. Good to see ya. We've got Wendy. We've always got Wendy. Good to see ya. Good to see you guys. We got Stephen Morris. Oh, great. It's Amy. Welcome in. Everybody's got a seat on the party bus. A short seasonist. Little season party bus. Woo, yeah. I don't know if you guys got to see it. Oh, let me pull up the thumbnail. We'll go over to the thumbnail because it's absolutely hilarious, I think. And I'm just going to toot my own horn here. I just want to say I'm really proud of this artwork. This was done on MS Paint. I don't really use like professional photo editing software. I just use like Paint 3D because I'm lazy. And I could probably learn how to use Photoshop, but I don't like Adobe anyway. This is free. So we've got 3 tiers right here. Check it out. How cool is that? We've got our new Patreon tiers. We've got the initiates, the acolytes, and the zealots of the group. And we'll touch base on that in just a second. But I put in the latest Vibes of Cosmos. I guess it's called the selenographic moon map there for our level 28. And then obviously we have a bus here. We've got 1,000 for how many subs we just hit. And I think we're already like over that. We're like 1060 already. Like we needed like 12 and it was like, where is the 12? And now there's like another 100 more. Totally awesome. Anyway, if you look close, this top of the bus says Destination Kingdom. So that's where we're all going. Little season party bus, Destination Kingdom or bust. And I also thought it was worth including this Kool-Aid mug because you guys are all crazy and you're obviously drunk on the Kool-Aid for watching this or even participating in this weird show at all. So back to chat. Just make sure we're all up to date with everybody. I did notice a couple other new ones in here. We got Question and Edify. Oh boy, it blew up fast. A lot of you guys up in here. Thank you guys for being here. Welcome to the Main Character Podcast, level 28. We are on the little season party bus. We are celebrating 1,000 subscribers here at the Cult of Khan, 1,000 crazy cultists on the cutting edge of conspiracy research through the lens of Christianity, Christ Jesus, my main man, the only man I pledge allegiance to, Jesus. I almost like did one of those Bellamy salutes, and then I thought, you can't do that. What, Elon can, but I can't? Probably not. Looks like we got Rejoice Artworks, Elizabeth, welcome in, good to see ya. We've got Cage Fighter, party bus. I know how much Cage Fighter loves the party bus idea. And since we're talking about the party bus, I'll just explain really quick for those of you guys who don't know. We kind of have this sort of inner circle, I guess you could say, here in the conspiracy cult world. We travel around to all the different chats here. We try to visit all of our friend channels and go from place to place and kind of, just spam the like button, encourage the like button. We do what we can to try and support the community, our other, brothers and sisters in Christ who are working on this crazy field of conspiracy theory research. So the inner circle is kind of like the party bus. So we go from chat to chat and you guys are all welcome on the party bus, but just think that party bus shows up, it pulls up into the front there, everybody's enjoying themselves, having a good old time. And then, party bus, you know how it is, party bus. And if I'm not mistaken, I think all I have to do is just click this and it's like, party bus. So that's basically the premise of the party bus. It's the inner sanctum. It's the ritual chamber. At least that's what we call it here on the Cult of Khan. But you get my vibe, right? The party bus goes and we bring the party with us. So one channel or another, we're always bringing our best attitudes, our best energy, doing what we can to support one another in this community. I think it's amazing. Cage Rider's like, I hired a band. It's really good to see you here, Jay. I don't know if I shouted out to you yet. Welcome. Thank you on the congrats for 1K subs. You helped make it happen, my friend. You're one of them. Another crazy Kool-Aid chugger, so welcome. We got Gwen David. Welcome, my friend. Welcome in. Wow, so many of you crazies up in here. Don't take that the wrong way. We got Miles. What's up, Miles? I don't even know if I said hi to you. What is up? Crazy, y'all are crazy. Now, let's get down to some goodies. Let's get to some goods. Okay, so let's go ahead and I guess we'll get rid of we'll cover all the dumb stuff just because I gotta do it. Welcome to the Cult of Khan. For those of you guys who are brand new, I am Khan Man. This is the internet's craziest conspiracy cult. We love Jesus. We want to know what the truth is. The deep state kills people. All that good stuff. Anyway, popping over here. Here we are on YouTube. This is our home place. You can find us here on YouTube if you guys are listening on audio. YouTube is the home of the Cult of Khan, and that is going to be the place where the party bus pulls up. That's the station for the party bus. With that being said, you guys are also welcome to consider supporting the channel here on our merchandise store here at the Cock Store, COC, Cult of Khan. Cock Store, we have a variety of random things, usually all pertaining to the brand here. We also have Bulge Khalifa, but a few different designs to choose from if you guys are interested in supporting the channel and getting something in the mail eventually. Sorry, Paul. Anyway, hit up the Cock Store. I'll go ahead and drop it here in the chat for y'all in the party bus if y'all are interested in checking that out. And then, of course, we do have the actual Patreon, which I want to take a second to just switch over and give a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. We have, starting at the Zealot tier, we have Mama Khan. Love you, Mama. Thank you for supporting the channel. We also have Wendy at Zealot tier. Wendy has been here since day one, if I'm not mistaken. Wendy, you're amazing. Thank you so much. We've got MK Ryan and Simple Life holding down the Acolyte tiers. Great guys. It's actually funny. They're both called Ryan. Isn't that funny? We got two Ryans, two Acolyte Ryans. There can be only one. And we've got, of our Initiate tiers, we've got Red Martyr. We've got Renee. We've got Dojo. We've got Jew David. We've got Lindsay, and we have Nancy. So special thanks to everybody who is financially supporting the channel via Patreon. We do have a brand new series coming to the Patreon channel, and it's going to be called The Cult of Cars. So some of you guys may have heard me tease this before, and I'll just share with you guys just a moment, just some of the imagery that we have here. This is a R129 SL500. This is my dream car I designed as an art piece with the Culticon Griffin logo as a badge. Maybe I get this car in real life and maybe really put the logo on the front. Wouldn't that be crazy? And so this grill and logo insert is the new logo for the for the Cult of Cars, which is our new car show, which is going to be about me struggling with an old daily driver, working on that thing. In fact, we're filming our very first episode tomorrow. The boys are coming over. We're going to hang out. We might cook some food. We're going to be trying to like bleep all the profanity, and we're going to tear the axles out of that. Not of the R129. We don't have that yet. But Blanca. I'll introduce you guys to my daily driver, which is a 2000 Camry named Blanca. She's a real sweetheart. She's white. That's where she got her name, Blanca. Duh. But yeah, so we're going to be tearing into Blanca. That'll be a members only video. So for those of you guys who want to get into whatever con man working on cars and smashing his thumb or whatever, that's going to be happening there on the Cult of Cars. I'm Car Man. Thank you for being here. With that being said, update. Those of you guys who might not know or might not be keeping up, this is my dream car right here. Transitioning directly to it, it's a 2001 or 2002 Mercedes-Benz SL500. It's a Tupac car. It's a Princess Diana car. It's a cool people car from like 25 years ago. Now, I know, don't get me wrong, we can't serve God and mammon, but I'd just like to ask you guys to leave it up to prayer, because this is a situation that may or may not work out for me. So they raised the price on this thing while we were talking about working out a deal for it, and I was really mad. And I got mad because of the greed of mankind. But lo and behold, they dropped the price another $1,000. Why? Because they gotta move the car. So now I'm going to try and leverage to try and get that car. We will see if it happens. Val says biodegradable wiring, I'd be staying away. I agree with you, except for that's only between 94 and 98 model years. Just for your reference. So after the facelift in 99, they went all back to standard, not economically friendly, but long-lasting wiring harnesses. Good play, though. Good that you know a bit about the car. That's cool. So the goal is to try and acquire... It's that one, too. Trust me. Well, I'm going to give it my best shot. It's my dream to own it. And I've heard good things about the post-2000 year, so I guess you'll have to tune in and see how it goes. I'm sure you'll see me, like, juggling frayed wires and be like, Val, no! Why didn't I just listen? Anyway, with that being said, I wanted to bring something up that happened just earlier today. So there is a... where am I? Okay, so the story so far, 2025 edition, right? This is me talking about stuff, recommending channels, all that. This is my most viewed video so far, like ever. And it's only like 2 days old, which means the channel is growing. I can feel it. We can feel the momentum. It's crazy. I'm really excited. But I just wanted to let you guys know there was like 2 things about this. The first thing is I featured a channel on here of an individual who is no longer, they deleted all their content. So a lot of people were upset. They were like, well, I can't find this channel, blah, blah, blah. And I totally respect it. First of all, I didn't put any links. That was my bad. I kind of figured that you guys would just like, if you were interested, you would look. But I should have done a little more. When I get a bit of free time, I'll put the links in the video so that those of you, those of you guys that find that, you can go back over there and find that. Here, let me get a drink. I'm freaking dying over here. Anyway, so one of our channels, I'm just going to say is this gal called Kingdom Piratess, and she just deleted her channel. There was some drama going on. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my business. All I'm saying is she's not there, so I trimmed her out of the video. So for those of you guys who saw that before I trimmed it or were wondering, she's nuked herself. I don't know why. So with that being said, no big deal. But then somebody left a comment and it made me laugh. This guy said, had to move on the moment I saw those big earlobe ring things. And somebody replied or something, but it won't. There's nothing. But I just wanted to take a second to comment about this because I just thought it was funny. Like these big, whatever, earlobe ring things. Like, where did that guy even come from? You know what I mean? Like, isn't this a pretty like open-minded community? Like, oh, that guy had earrings. I won't listen to anything he says. Imagine if that's how we thought. The first thing that came to my mind is, you guys know about the biblical hitmen? I don't know them that well, but they have a guy on their shows. This guy, I don't know his name. I think Paul was on their show not long ago. Anyway, I'm not trying to flame the guy. They're really prolific. This whole crew is a really great group of guys. So shout out to the biblical hitmen. I think you can find him on YouTube too. I think I'm subbed. But you know, they do a podcast talking about stuff. I see they have JT at some point. I saw they had John Kerwin. Love that guy. But anyway, this guy, I don't know his name. I'm not that well acquainted with the group. But like, look, he's got tattoos all over his face and stuff. And I remember, I think he was on Paul's show and people were like being judgmental, you know. They're like, what is he? And it's just so like, you guys, we got to get past that. Like, we got to get past the whole, oh, you look a certain way, you can't have anything valuable to say. If anything, like, you know, my ears used to be like 10 times bigger than they are. I'm not even joking. They were stretched like almost an inch or close to an inch. My good buddy's ears are really big. So, you know, face tattoos, piercings, whatever, dude. It's not who you are. It's just the way you appear. And honestly, if you guys know, I'm big on like the idea of like filters. And I don't mean like filters for the camera. I mean like, if you call yourself a cult and you call your cult leader guy a con man, and then you start talking about crazy stuff, it actually protects you because people see you and think you're nuts, and then they don't come over and do anything. Like, what good would a troll do to this group? It's like, oh, I know we're crazy, dude. Wait, you're mad? Like, why'd you even come over here then? You know, the guy basically deported himself. I didn't even have to do anything. So, whatever, man. Good on you. You know, it sucks though, because he ran out just in time to miss the party bus. Woo! Party bus! Anyway, the Little Season party bus it's a once in a lifetime experience. 1,000 crazy cultists rammed into a short bus. And you know why it's a short bus. It's because it's full of retards. Sorry, no, I'm not allowed to say that. But here, let me make a point, right? Back in the day, we used to look at something, especially my brother and I were so cynical. We joke about everything. Like, we talk crap about everything, but it's funny. So we'd be like, this thing sucks. Like, it's just so critical of everything. And we were just joking about the whole idea that, like, you know, you gotta take things lightly. You can't be all mad about it or whatever. But like, so for instance, we used to say stuff was retarded. And there was a period of time where it's like, if you did that, you're a monster. But of course, we were like video game kids on the internet screwing around, so it was fine for a while. But then the standards raised, we got political correctness moved in. You can't say that, that's insensitive. But I just want to take a second to talk about why it's not insensitive to say something that sucks is retarded. Let's actually pull up the definition. Because what people need to know is that retarded doesn't mean like mental, it doesn't mean like a mental handicap. And now obviously there's going to be definitions of it, but like, so less advanced in mental, physical, or social development. See, that's the one that everybody thinks of. But the original is delay or hold back in terms of progress, development, or accomplishment. Our progress was retarded by unforeseen difficulties. What always comes to my mind is like flame retardant material. There'll be like a t-shirt and it'll be like flame retardant material. And it's because what it does is it means slow to develop or restricted in development in some way. And so I don't think that there's a case to be made that saying something is retarded has anything to do with mental health at all. What I think about it is there's a scale of how cool something could be, like really awesome on one side and then cringe on the other. So awesome on one side, cringe on the other. If something is not awesome, like it could be, it's retarded. You know what I mean? Like it could be cool, but it's retarded. So that's my case that I'm making. And and the way I see it is that it's like when they first invented cars, they had what's called a spark advancement lever, which was like they didn't even have a throttle, like there's no gas pedal. The engine's just running. And you like affect the timing with a lever, you like speed it up. You know what I mean? And it was literally like there's neutral, advanced, and retarded. So like you pull it back to retard it so you don't like peel out in your cartwheel wagon and like fly off the road or whatever. So evidently there's a way to say that something's retarded without it being offensive to people with mental disabilities. And to be completely honest, I love people of all types. And whenever I encounter someone with mental disabilities, I feel the same way as I feel about anything that's not right. You know what I mean? Like people are exactly who they are, but we're all supposed to be like glorified and whole. I was driving past this vineyard and there were these grapevines and all the grapevines were looking really good. And on one of the rows was like this really haggard, ugly looking one. And I know that it produces great grapes, so they would have chopped it down a long time ago, but it's still like all twisted. You know what I mean? Like it was all like not pretty like the other ones. And all I could think to myself is, there's nothing wrong with that vine. But like I yearn for order, Not that everything has to be the same, but just you want to see everything thriving. You want to see everybody doing their best and being their best. And whenever I see a person with a physical or mental disability, I feel for them. It makes me appreciate my working faculties. I mean, mentally, I can't say much. But, my arms and my hands and my feet and toes, they're all there and they all work. Less one slightly less useful eyelid, but I can still see, so I can't complain about it. If I was blind, I get to wear an eye patch, and then I'd be even more cool. And then it'd be like, oh yeah, he's living his best pirate life over here with one eye. But yeah, I just feel like the world should be made new and made whole. And if there's any way for that to happen, I want to see it. Popping back over here with chat. I see that a bunch of new folks have shown up. It's good to see you, guy. Good to see you all. We've got, I just saw a new person pop in. It was the Upset Truther. What's up, my friend? MK Ryan, he's like, too soon, Con. Oh, like saying that stuff's retarded? I haven't even begun to break the surface yet of what's going on here. So apparently, as soon as we broke 1,000 subs, I got an email from YouTube, like actual YouTube, saying, all right, dude, it's time for you to join the partner program. Apply here. Like, oh, MK Ryan, like, oh, the pirate thing. Yeah, sorry, I shouldn't be making pirate references this soon. Yeah, somebody just walked the plank like within like 4 hours, so it's not good. Jay's like, so basically all of our favorite Millennial Reign content creators, Paul, JT, Connor, Madeline, Jason, Jack, Ricardo, each one would write a chapter on a narrowly focused aspect of the reign. Wow, that would be amazing. So Jay's talking about the idea as a Millennial Reign co-authored collaborative book. I know there's been a lot of talk about a little seasonist documentary, but maybe a collaborative book would be a good precursor. I agree, and you know what? A book gives us a format to build a documentary on. So, for example, Chapter 1, JT could break down the Gunnar Heinsohn material of the final chapter. Paul could explain his blue beam end times theory. Connor, the need for body armor and ammo in the little season. And party bus! Party bus! Party bus! Party bus. Anyway, yeah, maybe I'll write the party bus chapter. Jay's like, joking with you. Anyway, you get the idea. Each content creator has particular strengths and research preferences, so each one could write a chapter about what they know best. Yeah, I would love to write a chapter or even like write a foreword for it, although who would put me in the foreword? Well, the foreword by that guy that nobody's heard of. Hey, 1,000 people have 1,000 crazy cultists packed into a short bus. Let's go. You guys are awesome. It's good to see you guys here. It really is. It's really awesome to be able to share this experience with you guys because it was like I said before, you can't celebrate this twice. This is the real milestone. 500 was a thing because YouTube says so, but I see it as like 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. Each one is like a mega milestone as a YouTube creator, like on your journey to what you're trying to do and trying to make this like your real thing. And it's really awesome. I hope to see that there's a future here, but what I love more than anything is that we're celebrating it really right now. 1,000 subs is like, as soon as you get bigger than that, it won't be the same. Paul says it, and I will reiterate, we are living the golden days right now. Like, these are the glory days. This community, these people, that's kind of been the theme of the shows this week, has just been community appreciation. From Sunday service this week when we ran our community episode, looking at it from a biblical perspective, up until Monday when we dropped the story so far, just shouting out to other creators in the community. And I will address that there were a few creators in there that are not Christians, but it's like, I think the way I said it to Pepe was like, I don't care if it's written on like a beautiful new piece of paper or some derelict shredded scroll found in a cave. The truth is the truth. So when it comes to people like John Levi or like Robert Sepper or like any of these people, like Old World Florida, any of the channels you guys know about, Lucius Aurelian, I really like that guy. They're not Christians. They're like Tartaria people. And at some point we're going to have to like rain on their parade. We're going to have to be like, guys, whose house is it? Where is your party bus going? What's it say on the big header of your party bus? We're going to look at ruins in Florida, where we're en route to the kingdom. This is a kingdom-bound party bus. Party bus. Anyway, so, but again, I definitely I'll reiterate. Christians are the cutting edge of conspiracy research. You have to know Christ. He's the way, the truth, and the life. How can you have the truth without the way, the truth, and the life? I feel like maybe this is the argument we should be making. You don't have the truth. You have conjecture and weird ideas. Good for you. Thank you for your research. But you ain't getting anywhere without the way, and you don't have anything without the truth, and you're basically just lying to yourself without the life. So I don't know what y'all doing. Find the king. I don't know how you, I'm not gonna get into it, but I just don't know how you could be like a Tartaria person, like a researcher, and not immediately be like, oh, all these frescoes feature Jesus. Why do they all like Jesus so much? You know what I mean? It's not like somebody painted that up there later. Nobody can paint that now. Have you guys seen that? Have you guys seen that? Like, it was a Jesus painting, what would you call it? Restoration fail. You guys know. I'm just going to share it because it's so funny. We had some sort of an absolutely amazing piece of ancient artwork that was, peeling and devastated. And what this lady turned it into is disgusting. Look at that thing. It's like a monkey head. Anyway, I'm sure you guys have probably seen it, but I just always thought this was really funny and it's just worth referencing. This is what the little season looks like. That's the fresco you get in the little season. That's the quality that you can expect. This is what horse carts and buggies and old people are pulling off in the modern age. Anyway, with that being said, I think it's incredibly intellectually dishonest for some people to be like, oh, we're big researchers, and just try so hard not to talk about it. And I think I would have great respect for anybody that talked about it. And if you guys know anyone in the community that is talking about it, send me their way because I want to watch their angle. Like the idea that you're going to sidestep Jesus throughout the whole old world research little season stuff. I guess they don't call it little season, but that's what it is. So we're just going to, we'll use our terms. But, you're like a big Tartaria mud flood person. And it's like, at what point do you encounter a lot of Jesus? And then you say, okay, well, he's there because the Jesuits who are run by, you know what I mean? Where do you draw the line between what is actually the world's leading faith group from zero till whenever? Like, the world was changed by the impact of Christianity. It's obviously really big, and it's a huge, impossible to ignore part of history no matter how you cut it. So like, what is their explanation? Like, is it just made up? Like, there were people walking around in the post-Tartaria post-apocalypse of Tartaria, and then a bunch of people just like painted Michelangelo quality Christ on everything and then aged it 300 years so it would fit with everything else. I want to debate these people because they need to be asked real questions. You know what I mean? Everybody always just like hides in their echo chamber. Nobody ever asks anyone anything serious. Like, dude, why is Jesus everywhere then? And I totally get it, and this is another thing I want to talk about, and I think I'm going to try to save it because Paul and I have, talked about doing like a new age, like I guess like a, I don't know, like a divisive, like WWE SmackDown of the new age. I thought it would be like that. I don't know what he's visioning, but I just think it would be funny to like, he's kind of got more of a background in exploring some of these new age concepts. And I'm kind of more of those, like a kind of person. I was kind of raised Christian, which is different in a way from Paul. And then on top of that, like I've always been like a real, like a a-hole. Like I don't take anybody serious. I'm a skeptic of everybody. I was skeptic of the mainstream. And then when other people were starting to present ideas too, I was like, what is all this crap? Like it's not quite cognitive dissonance for me. It's just like, why should I believe you-ness? But I get it. We have to be willing to prove what we believe and to put it to work. Make action. Big claims require big evidence. So, but anyway, when it comes to the whole Jesus thing and people's issues with Jesus and with the church in general, it's not unfounded. People have been totally abused by the institutions, and the institutions have been made rotten on purpose, in order to get us into a bad way, to make us disbelieve in Christ, to believe that, all the bad things these people do in the name of Christ somehow represents him. And, if there's an acknowledgement of God's power, people are like, well, then why doesn't he electrocute those bad priests? You're preaching to the choir here, man. But I think that our God is just far too forgiving and gracious, because if he electrocuted everybody that did him wrong, we'd all be fried right now. There'd be no party bus. It'd be like a smoldering party chassis laying there on the side of the road. We'd be like looking like LA right now. All right, I'm coming back over to chat. I'm gonna try to do what I can to keep up with you guys. I know that I keep seeing like in the corner, like more people are showing up. Like we got. I see D Stag. What's up, D Stag? Welcome in. We got GB Packers 55. He says Psyop Soup has some really interesting videos. Been enjoying his content the past couple of days. Yeah, big fan of Psyop Soup. It's not necessarily Christian stuff, but it's just raw information, and I think that's great. Susie says, John Levi has a second channel where he has talked of Enoch, but yes, I don't think he says he's a Christian. Yeah, from what I've collected, John is like, he's undecided. And I respect that more than people who are like, I don't believe in anything. Like, rejecting Christ is kind of like, it's ignorant. Maybe rejecting the modern interpretation of Christ, that's reasonable because the church has distorted it. That image, that like South Park Jesus, that's not real. That's someone's caricature of him. When we think about Jesus, we have to remember that this is like a man who worked with his hands. He was like a hardworking blue-collar guy, but he knew everything. He's the Son of God. He studied hard. He changed the world, and he came as this like humble, meek guy. Remember, he showed up on a donkey, and it's because people forget that he was always powerful. And I don't just mean like he could magically do things. Even from the very beginning, people were showing up and showering him with gifts. People knew he was the Son of God from the very beginning. We hear about the 3 gifts. And I heard a great dialogue from Leaving Babylon. I was revisiting her Sides of the North series. And she was talking about a little tangent where she talked about the 3 wise men, or the 3 gifts of the wise men who came, and even an angle that she has where it's possible that they weren't necessarily there to glorify him, but it was kind of like a we know where to find you, like we know who you are kind of thing. And maybe that's, take that however you'd like, but just an interesting take. But the point being that people knew he was the Son of God. Herod was like trying to have him killed before he was even like an adult. He's like literally a baby. Herod was trying to kill him. So it was never a secret who he was or what he was trying to do. And I don't believe he was poor either, because his dad was a successful carpenter. He was a successful carpenter. And we know even in the modern age that carpentry is a good, decent business to be involved in. If you're doing contracting, commercial construction, people think that Christ made rocking chairs. Maybe, but carpentry also includes like buildings, like building homes and towers and whatever else they could have been building. So he could have very well been like a real guy doing, not, of course he was real, but he might have been making big money out there, before he started his ministry. And of course he had been gifted lots of money, even from a very young age, by wise kings and magi from around the land. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's the character of this guy who has maximum power and is extremely gracious. The Bible says the meek shall inherit the earth, and meekness is the capacity for great strength and power and fight. But the meekness is like, it's the restraint, it's the grace. And that's who Christ is. When he first appears, he comes in as a humble man, as a donkey. He sacrifices himself. He dies. He takes on the weight of sin. He does all that. But the Jesus that comes back at the second coming, or whatever you want to call it, at the beginning of the millennial reign, that's the guy who comes in his kingdom and power. Like, people don't, that is not South Park Jesus. He's like coming in a fighter jet. You know what I mean? He's like doing the bombing run himself, bro. That's a party bus that I want to be on. The kingdom party bus. Anyway. Guys, I'm so glad you're all here. For those of you guys who are just now popping in, welcome to the Main Character Podcast, level 28, made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I'm Con Man. Thank you for being here and joining us for our 1,000 sub celebration. We have 1,000 crazy cultists chugging the Kool-Aid and riding the short party bus. And it's a great time. I'm having a good time. I don't know about you guys, but Andy plays some games. Oops, I'm late. Just noticed the time. Welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Susie says, Dr. Longo is a Christian, Old World, Florida. Pretty sure. I'm not in the position to speak on anybody's position. And I just don't know. So if Dr. Narco Longo is interested in claiming Christ as king, amen, my brother. I don't know where he's at today because I haven't seen his videos in years. I think when he first came out, he was kind of trying not to maybe put labels on stuff. And that's also another thing that people do, is they don't necessarily want to commit anything, either to put something on Jesus and say like, oh, this thing that I came up with, Jesus is that. Like, that's pretty respectful and reverent, I think. But then also, like, there's the whole, I'm not bold enough because I want views. I don't want people to think I'm some dumb Christian. And I don't like that either. So I don't know what he's on, but I like his work. Old World Florida is a great channel, so nothing against them at all. He's a good guy. D-Stag says 1,300 years kingdom plus 700 years fabricated, added to time 2,000. I mean, this is going to be something that we'll probably never really know the answers to, like the exact timeline, until maybe the end, when we can encounter saints and Christ himself and say, what happened? Like, how long was it from here to there? How much time? And when did they start changing the numbers? Because the reality is, guys, as soon as the apocalypse, or whatever you want to call it, happened, as soon as this, catastrophe that wiped out the world happened, it was no holds barred. Like, we have no way of knowing how many people were left, who had access to what kind of information. And as far as I'm concerned, it's like the Brotherhood of Steel came in and just rewrote everything. We don't even have any idea when anything happened, It's like I forget the guy's name. He was just on Paul's show earlier. Really bright young guy talking about, the season and the kingdom and a lot of the history that he knows about. And even he was saying, it's like, it seems like a lot of events of history have been kind of just thrown out and given times, even though they all happened probably within the first 1,000 years AD. They've turned a lot of that into, well, that was in 17 and that was 1845, and there's just all this crap. And I think it was just like, once the kingdom was over, it kind of became a free-for-all. And I think that's where you get all this stuff about like orphan trains and repopulation and Cabbage Patch Kids and all the stuff you guys have heard about. It's I think it was all part of the collective effort of making the lie sell, or solidifying the new narrative. Because as you guys know, they built all those insane asylums. Well, they probably didn't build them. They founded all those insane asylums, and they put everybody like me and you in there because we were drinking too much Kool-Aid and trying to enjoy whatever, and so that was one of the ways. But I don't think that it was because people knew and needed to be erased. I mean, there could very well be that, there's catacombs under all the cities. Who knows who killed all those people, or what killed all those people, and then who stacked them all up afterwards. There's just so many mysteries we don't know. But what I would say is that I think it's very possible that it was like a generational thing, like what we see today. And I don't like to lean on it, but it's how human nature goes. Like, I remember being a kid, it was like 2005, I looked at something I thought was dumb, and I said, that's gay, that's retarded, and no one cared. And then like 2008 came, and all of a sudden it's Obama, and now we're all conscious about, we don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, you can't say that, you're a racist. You know what I mean? Like, everything started happening, stuff changed. When I was a kid, nobody cared if you said something was retarded. And it wasn't because people were insensitive. It was just because people were not programmed yet. They didn't have that layer of the Matrix introduced into their mind yet to all of a sudden be all hypersensitive about stuff. Like, I can tell you that I have friends of different races, and I've never experienced any time where they were like, that's racist, bro, don't say that. Like, half the time, my friends of color are agreeing with me about this shit I'm saying. There it is. We got the first swear of the show. That's the first swear on the Little Season Party Bus. We get 1, 2 honks. I was going to ram the Longhorn again, but that one's just obnoxious. It's like every 5 minutes he's ramming that horn. Imagine you're like waking up in the morning trying to like get ready for work, and you're like, I'm gonna enjoy that one guy who does those really, soft-spoken Sunday service teachings. I'm gonna go over there and listen to what he has to say this week about regular everyday things. And I'm like screaming and like, party bus, party bus. Anyway, that will probably get annoying at some point. But I really can't help it. I'm just having a good time. I'm really glad you guys are here with me tonight. I'm going to bring back up the chat window because it's just good to see you guys. We got Pearl. We got Val. We got Question and Edify. We got so many people talking about good stuff. Little Season Fellowship says, for me, I've been a Christian since I was like 13. All it took was someone saying, hey, what if the Dark Ages were actually the millennial reign? And I was off and running. Well, you know what's crazy about that? And I guess this is a good opportunity to share a little bit of story, like recap, because here we are, right? How did we get here? I'll tell you guys a little bit about my journey. When, I was a kid, I was kind of taught Christian stuff and believed kind of, churchianity. And I didn't really have like a falling away. I just never was on the track to begin with, As a kid, it's hard to take anything like that seriously. It's all just too big of a concept and poorly taught by weird people who like choke their wife to death. And it's just not a good way to be. So my influence of Christianity wasn't all that good. But, as I got older, I've always been kind of a researcher and a skeptic. I always just wondered what's going on. I was like into punk rock as a teenager, and that taught me not to trust the government or the media or the establishment, And even though as corny as it is, I took it seriously. I was like maybe one of the only real punks in the group. Everybody else just liked to get drunk. But I didn't like the system, man. And I felt that even as an adult. I was like, oh man, this stuff sucks. So I rejected already what the programming was, but I just didn't know what the alternative was. And then I discovered that guy, Dr. Miles Monroe. I've talked about him on my show before. I think I even talked about him in the last Story So Far update. But basically, that guy preaches the kingdom as Jesus said it, right? He was the guy who first told me that we should believe what the Bible says actually. Like, I'd never encountered any Christians who were like, have you ever just thought that maybe the Bible is literal and not allegory and not metaphorical, and it's actually just Jesus Christ telling people stuff, and it's just a story of what happened, and you just take it for what it is. Like, don't add anything to it. Rev did a video not too long ago about this, where he was like talking about how you have to be like a kid. Forget everything. Just open it and be like, what's this book I've never heard of? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Who did what? You don't know anything yet. Keep reading. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that idea. And Miles Monroe kind of had that mentality. He was like, look at the red words. What is Jesus teaching? Who cares about the church talking about you're saved by this and you got to do this and that and the other thing? Leave all that behind and start with the teacher. It's called Christianity. It's not called Bibleanity. It's not called Gospelanity. It's not called Old or New Testamentanity. It's Christianity, as in Jesus Christ, the teacher, the king, the Messiah. Let's focus on him. Let's listen to what he has to say. And of course, if you do that, you see he's like telling people what we all know, which is he's like saying, like I am saying to you, guys, the Little Season Party Bus is flying off the rails. It is at hand. It's flying off the rails right now. That's the imminence of the Little Season Party Bus. And so when Jesus says stuff like, you guys are going to see this happen. It was like yesterday, I was like, the party bus is going off the rails tomorrow. And that doesn't mean 2,000 years from now. What kind of a celebration is that? You guys want to celebrate 1,000 subs 2,000 years from now? Nope. So anyway, I was already looking at it like Jesus meant what he said. Jesus was telling the truth. He said his kingdom would come. And I hadn't heard a single thing about Tartaria or the mud floods or the lost cities of whatever. Like, I had no idea any of that was going on. I don't know what year it was. It wasn't that long ago. I was all about FE and about, politics and 9/11 and whatever it was. I knew about all that stuff. But I just had not heard about this mud flood, this stolen history, you know what I'm saying? And I was in this position where, like I said, I had never heard of any of that. But I had just gotten in my mind this idea that Jesus said what he said. So I don't care what anyone else says. I don't care what history says. I just imagined everything was a lie. And now I have this imaginary, like, ethereal concept. Jesus told the truth. I wonder what the world really looked like. I wonder what really happened. I went, wait a minute. Is there proof? And then I found it all, right? Started seeing all these videos about Tartaria. I was like, oh my gosh, dude. I wasn't looking at old buildings and trying to figure out who they belonged to. I was trying to figure out where the owners' buildings were. And then they were there, dude. And everything else, the canals and the rivers and the like crazy melted mountains. Like, you guys ever seen Cappadocia in Turkey? Not that I've ever been there. I would love to one day have the resources to go to a place like that and see it in real life. Like, put my hand on the stone and just connect with it. Just be like, dude, this is real. This thing really was, this was a super city and now it's like a melted wasteland. Like, this is the post-apocalypse. And that reality is mind-blowing, dude. Like, how did I get to the little season? I mean, I started with Jesus, started with his kingdom as an idea. And then I saw the proof that it really happened. Like, I believed what he said. So I just wanted to go find proof that what he said was true. And then all the floodwaters came pouring down. You guys know what I'm saying? All these amazing content creators who have put in all this great work, compiling pictures and questions and taking angles at this whole thing that I never would have taken on my own. When I started my road to research, I never thought I'd be a content creator. I never thought I'd be a part of the discussion. I always kind of took a back seat thinking that I don't have what it takes to discuss these things. I don't know anything. Who would ever listen to me? I don't have a degree. I'm like a weird drunk guy. I'm not a drunk anymore, but you know what I mean? I was like a crazy punk rock stoner weirdo all my life. I didn't really fit in. None of this world ever made any sense to me. I didn't think that I would find a place that flowed. Like, I didn't think I'd end up in a position like this. So I never took screenshots, I didn't think I'd ever have to tell this story. I was just kind of selfishly navigating my own way through the cave, not really thinking that there might be other people trying to find their way through the darkness as well. And that's what makes this community so fantastic. It's why I'm so happy to be here with you guys, because for once, all of us have our community. And we transcend everything. And by that, I mean, this community is not limited to your favorite sports team or where you grew up or how old you are. This is like the tie that binds us together. Like, not replacing Jesus, who's the real tie, right? But we're a body together, and this research brings us all together. It brings us to a single place where we can all work together to parse through all this information, to support each other, to battle each other in our disagreements, It's really a cool and a rare and awesome thing. And I'm happy to share it with whoever. At the end of the day, I'm not the big researcher. But I do like to have a good time, and I think we all deserve a place to go and hang out and have fun. It's like, here we are, sitting at the dive bar, and what's on tap? Good times, We are enjoying our party bus wherever it's parked, whether we're going down the interstate with the door hanging open, or whether we're backed in, at the boat ramp. Like, I don't know. We're having a good time, okay? And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to enjoy this ride. Because we've got however much time left until either we die off or like we get ran over by a bus or we live to see the New Jerusalem. We might be like 2, 3 years, 5, 10 years from now looking up at some amazing stuff in the sky, and all of us will be like instantly hitting up the Telegram like, oh my gosh, do you see it? It's real. And of course, all the news will be like, it's the mothership. We're all doomed. Trump will be like, I'm enlisting our very first... This would be the very, this is the first conscription. All Americans will be subject to, this is a war for our continuity. In order for the United States to continue to exist as a nation, you'll all have to offer one testicle. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, it to me is exciting. Like, I have my moments. I'm a person too, If I think too much about it, I get down. And that's one thing I notice is a theme in the world, which is why we have to stand strong, right? We are Christians. We are followers of Christ. We are going to the kingdom. It says it on the top of the bus, kingdom. This party bus is traveling to somewhere beautiful, and it doesn't matter what happens along the ride. We're enjoying it as we can, as it happens. But that's the difference. Like all these people who don't know Christ are experiencing the worldly view. I just saw my man Dan put out a video, and he was talking about don't get consumed by trouble in the short season. The world is becoming consumed by the trouble. They're worried about their future and about their finances and about their jobs and about their APR. And I know because we're living in it. We're trapped in this situation. So what do, right? But I also know that we are part of a special group. God has called each and every one of us to him. You know, no one comes to the Father except those who he has called. So he has called you. This is not some cult trying to make you feel special. It's the real deal. You really are in his family. And I was walking around at work earlier today. I was thinking about it. I was like sweeping or something. And I was just like, man, I'm sweeping the floor here, but it's like only because it's like I got to. Like he needs me to know how to sweep floors so that I can be a good steward of the floors he'll give me, wherever they are, in the kingdom or here on earth. It doesn't matter. And everything that we go through, even if it seems like suffering is part of our refinement, he's helping his kids grow up. And it's like, man, let's not forget that we are his sons, his daughters, his people. We are the community, you know. We are Christ's people. We are the real church, the real body. And that's cool to me, you know. Sometimes I get upset. People make me mad because of how dumb they are. And I don't mean intellectually. I mean like that guy who like decided not to watch the video because my ears are like so tiny, dude. That's not even stretched. I was thinking like if I took this out, he wouldn't even notice. I'm like, bozo, if I wasn't wearing my plugs that one video, you wouldn't have even noticed and you would have just listened to me then? Is that how fickle you are? Like I don't like the way that chick looks. I'm not going to listen to her. People are so funny. And then the whole thing, like I'll just go ahead and say it, like why the need to defend celebrities and inverts? You know, like I'm not trying to be a jerk, but just like, dude, they're wretched, man. They suck. Like, don't get me wrong, I like movies and shows. They're funny. How else are we gonna survive this crap shoot? You gotta do something to pass the time. You otherwise watch like some weird guy on the internet running his mouth. So at least if there's like production value. Like, I think that Wendy was talking about, she watched The Lost World recently, and I think it's got Will Ferrell. I'm like, I don't like Will Ferrell. I know he's evil. He's like an evil Talmudic Satanist. But, like, I can appreciate, like, Elf. That movie was hilarious. I'm sure it's full of all kinds of symbology and all kinds of weird references to, like, Satan and the North Pole and whatever. But I get it, you know. We got to be able to, like, be a discerning people. I think that's really what the main character is all about, right? The difference between an NPC and the main character is your ability your ability. I don't even know what I'm trying to. It's your ability to think. It's your awareness. It's knowing that you're playing the game. What are you trying to accomplish while you're here? I always ask these questions. I feel like we're not a very philosophical humanity anymore. We used to be like Aristotle, and like people are like wondering, what are we doing here? Where is the realm of the gods? Like people used to ask questions and now everybody's like, I already know because I've seen it on the YouTubes. I saw the telescope and it showed it. I was there in California. I was there in Florida. I was in Celebration. I watched the rocket fly up there. I know it's real. You know what I mean? I'm so sick of that crap. You don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. So the point I'm trying to make is just that I feel like we've got to be discerning. Like, and that's what makes us main characters. That's why this is, like I always say, it's the most cutting edge conspiracy cult on the internet, not because we know everything, but because we're trying to figure it out. And I am not afraid to drive the party bus off of some crappy dirt road because it was a sign that said drive-in theater or some kind of fast food Sonic or something. And all of you guys are like, I don't know where you're at, but I'm going to need something because guys got to eat. And so that essentially leads to me like jerking the wheel sideways, driving the party bus off the road because we're going to Sonic because I need one of those slushies over there. You know, those kind they've got. Let's go back in and see what chat's doing. Donut says all roads lead to Christ. Donut, I don't know if I said hi to you. Good to see you back there. I kind of imagine I'm driving the bus right now and I have a rear view mirror and I look up in the rear view mirror, which is like there, but it could be there. It doesn't matter. And I'm looking in and I'm like, oh, didn't see you back there. I just hear a bunch of people screaming, party bus, party bus, party bus. And everybody's having a great time. And so I just, I'm doing what I can to try and, not fly off the road. Honestly, seriously though, I do want to just take a second to say thank you. There's nothing I would rather have than 1,000 subs. I mean that. If we had 10,000 right now, chat would be full of freaking weirdos. You know, like people that believe in balls and stuff, and like I don't know. I mean, whatever, to each his own. But like, dude, I had a guy tell me he didn't want to watch the show because my ears or something. Like, what about my Halloween episode, man? Like, you know what I mean? We're not exactly a marketable channel. I don't know what YouTube thinks. Like sending me emails telling me you should become a partner. Does YouTube want to partner with a conspiracy cult? Is that what YouTube's into now? Like who's gonna, I was saying this the other day. I was like, you know how there's like commercials, like ads on videos? What ads are gonna be on my channel? Like what brand is gonna want their product associated with me? It's like maybe with pendulum swinging, maybe we're starting to become, it's like a conservative, question the narrative. Like we want stuff. We don't want to pay taxes. We don't believe in the government. Like maybe we're going that way. Maybe there'll be like a whole new line of made in America products. We don't trust the government. Fire all those guys. Like, I don't know, man. I will say, and I've been having this conversation with people that I know are not like awake because I like to like act like I don't know anything and ask questions and be like, so do you guys think that like people are you think people are kind of waking up to all this stuff? Like, I feel like people are realizing a lot of things that they didn't know. Like, is it true that, like, I'll ask dumb questions I know the answer to because I know they know too because it's like the latest trending conspiracies. And I'll be like, is that a thing? And I have to play dumb around people because I know, like the other day I got too into it. I started talking about Nephilim and we were talking about, we were talking about giants, and then one of my coworkers, like, who's a Christian, said, I think they're in the Bible. And I was like, yeah. And then I started going off on, well, you know, the Native Americans, they do this like where they hold their hand up, you know, because they want you to see that they only have 5 fingers. Because at the time, you know, there was this whole issue with like other tribes of giants that were like grabbing people, jerking their arms out of the socket and beating them to death. That's not really what happens. It's just like in my mind, like the most violent thing that could happen. It's not funny. It's just there's this show, okay, from the guy that does Samurai Jack, Gendy Tartakovsky, I think is his name. And he did a show called Primal, and it's about like this caveman guy, and it's like a silent, there's no dialogue. It's not a how would I say this? All things are lawful, but not all things are profitable. It's not really profitable. It's just a show. It's violent and scary and emotional. It's a well done piece of art, but it doesn't glorify the Lord or anything. So make your own decisions about where you'll spend your time in that regard. But I will say it's funny. And in that one, there's a scene where like it's just a long story. He gets kidnapped by monkeys, and then they're drinking this special ayahuasca sauce, and the monkeys get jacked from it and like beat the crap out of each other in the Colosseum. And then he basically, the main caveman guy, he grabs the whole jug and chugs down the steroid sauce and turns into a giant tank and like smashes all the monkeys because they beat up his T-Rex. It's a very weird show, but it's really crazy and really funny. Yo, what up, Dojo? Welcome in, my man. Sean's like, I'm a weirdo. Everybody's talking about being on the short bus. We are on the short bus. All back of the bus. Wendy says, Donut, it's important if you have that inner conviction, then it's coming from the Holy Spirit. But if you're doing it because someone said, then recalibrate. It's so great to see you here, Dojo. Welcome in, man. Joffrey says, but a few years later, I took a gummy and Satan came against me hard. Oh, it looks like you had to leave the good herb behind, huh? See, that's the thing. I really want to make sure that we cover this. Because I know Paul is very strong about it. It's like I say, all things. It's not like I say. It's like the Bible says. And I'm sure it's someone prolific. I mean, let's not be ignorant here. All things are lawful. I see. I don't recognize this translation. Okay, so all things are lawful unto me. Okay, let's go here so you guys can read. All things are lawful unto me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. Okay, so there's different ways of looking at this. You see, even this, for me, everything's permitted, maybe, but not everything is helpful. Okay, the point is that you are a son of God. You've been given free will. You are the original managers of the realm. And although God replaced us with a better guy because we sucked, like, we're still in charge, dude. Like, not above him, but in the hierarchy, if you get right with Christ, boom, bam, chow. That's what the pyramid comes from, you know, the original pyramid. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that we have a responsibility, and we have the authority to do whatever we want. So all things are lawful. By that, it means there is nothing you cannot do, but not all of these things are good for you. And when we say good for you, there's ways that we may not understand that. It's kind of like when you're a kid and your parents are like, don't do it. And you're like, why not? And they may not be able to articulate it in a way that makes sense, or even at all, because maybe they're not that good of a parent. But the point is that there's a lot of things you can do that you think are like fun and cool, and they're not actually a good thing to do. It's like Miles Monroe always says, you can do a good thing that might not be the right thing. And we don't want to be doing good things. We want to be doing the right thing. Now that water is hitting tonight, dude. It was a long day. I mopped like multiple miles of floor. Crazy. You know what? Since we've been going, I think we just crossed over the first hour. So I'll just take a second to say, for those of you guys who are just getting here, welcome back to the Main Character Podcast, level 28, made possible by the Cult of Khan. That's you guys. We are celebrating 1,000 subs, 1,000 crazy cultists flying off the rails on the little season short bus, the little season party bus, and we are kicking it off as a 1,000 sub celebration, and we will never be able to do this again, so we are making it count. Party bus, bam, party bus. All right, so with that being said, guys, I'm going to go over and we're going to talk about something legitimate for a second. Imagine that. Imagine a non-ADD fueled, non-rant about nothing, something serious. Let's check it out. So within the last 24 hours, Vibes of Cosmos has dropped a brand new video, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's called 24 Hours Day South Zone, which what Vibes of Cosmos is basically saying is it is possible for a 24-hour sun using the flat moon map of the Earth model, and he's going to demonstrate it to us, probably with some music, but I don't know if I can play the music, unfortunately. So here we'll just start off right off the bat. Let's see, it was going to be original music, right? Oh man, it's probably so good. I'm sorry. I just can't let it play. I know that Vibes is like an actual creator and creates the music themselves. I don't even know what Vibes of Cosmos is. It could be a group of people for all I know. But what we're basically talking about is it's an art creation page. Like they do the scientific stuff, the world map stuff, but they also make music, and they basically piggyback all of their research on music. Very interesting what's happening here with this graphic. I'm just kind of letting it play as I talk randomly, but as you guys can see, these are some images you may recognize as basically prints of the moon map. They do a good job of basically illustrating what the known world is. That's this section that we're viewing here right now. And basically what they're illustrating is where they believe our proportions are. See, this is an illustration of, I guess, the firmament, of where they believe the actual dome borders are. And it looks like their understanding is that oh, shoot. I already see where we're going with this. This is crazy. So they're basically saying that in certain areas of the South, based on where our quarter of the Earth is, which is totally sensible, right? Like, I'll pause here before we get ahead of ourselves. In fact, I'll even go back, because this map is not the easiest for us to understand what we're looking at, because this is like the extended moon map. And it's very cool, but this right here is like a round version. I'll pull up to full so you guys can see what I've got here. But essentially this corner here, where we are, this is one corner of the Earth. Like, you know, it talks about the four corners of the Earth. We are only in one section of it. So the way this works is we basically have extended lands beyond what we know of. That's all this. They call it Pangea now. It used to be called Terra del Vista, or Terra Vista, and I always thought that was a cool name for it, but that's beside the point. The real issue is that this person believes, and I think it's highly possible, especially based on the moon map projection itself, which, let me go back to my big screen real quick. the edge of the moon map is actually being touched by part of our known world. So the very corner, which what you guys would see here on the video display, is basically like any of the southern continents of our known map. They extend over, and in this section farther up on the video, they believe it comes right up against the edge of the overall map, which I'm showing you guys here. This is the overall map edge, and as you wrap around, our quadrant down here has a portion. My head's in the way. There's a portion here, and that portion basically does come up against the edge of the world, so to speak. I don't know that that's a fact, but this is how Vibes of Cosmos is presenting it. So I'll let that continue from that position so you guys can kind of watch this. And I think that what I'm already beginning to understand what I think is possible and possibly the cause of why this is happening. Because as you can see, they're demonstrating that the sun makes its rotation around in this, circular pattern. And of course, I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but this is based on the moon map. And essentially, when that sun reaches a certain point, oh my goodness, once that sun reaches a certain point in the southern hemisphere, or whatever, hemicircle, whatever you want to call it, it becomes close enough to the dome that the light and the energy of the sun reflects off the dome, creating a wider area of sunlight influence. So what could be considered like a broader band of sunlight or a greater area of sunlight exposure created by the reflection off this dome. And again, like I said, I don't know if this is true, but this is mathematically sensible, especially since, as you guys know, the location of the research stations that are in Antarctica are in a specific place. That you can't be everywhere. You know what I mean? So you have to be in a pinpoint location. The locations they choose are these ones, close to this edge. And that's why when those guys flew over there and staged that final experiment, they were there, and the sun came by and they saw it for 24 hours because as it was going by, it was also reflecting off. I mean, that's really easy. It's like not even complicated. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like it's interesting and worth exploring. And I'm just glad. I think that with all the hype about the final experiment going on, Vibes was like, I'm just going to show you guys how it's done. Because Vibes has pretty much just been showing everyone how it's done for years, instead of like all this conjecture about, well, I think it looks like this because this thing says, and so it must be this. This is a picture of the cosmos. This is a picture of the actual moon. I saw Rev talking about it the other day. What's more believable? I get it. There could be a giant hologram Operation Blue Beans going on, but it's like, it's amazing. These graphics are amazing. I'm going to go ahead and throw this into the chat for you guys, because I want you guys to be able to go to this and watch it, save it to your playlists, mark it up, and enjoy the music too. I guarantee you the music is fire. Vibes always has great songs. I did call it Blue Beans. I called it Blue Beans on the cast too. Look at that. Now all these people will be like, that guy's not a truther. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. He's such an idiot. It's called Project Blue Beam. You don't even know. There'd be some guy off the rails in the chat typing out, in the Phoenix, and when the Xenu arrives, and I'm going to unlock my third crescendo, and I'm going to have my pineal, and my butthole is, you know what I mean? Like, it's always something, Oh, man. Wendy's like, a girl can't make one typo. See, this is how it works. Okay, that's all. So it's not like we're missing much, It's just a short video from Vibes. I'm going to drop it in chat one more time just so you guys can grab it. But yeah, definitely wild stuff, dude. And I really think that it's possible that the southern, whatever you want to call it, sphere thing, that is totally justifiable. There definitely is a firmament. It's got to stop somewhere. I hear people say it's an infinite plane, and it's like, that's not what I was told. The Bible literally says, like, the gospel must be taken to the ends of the earth. And it's like, oh, the ends of the infinite plane? Good luck. It's like, that's such a futurist doctrine. Once we get the gospel to the ends of the earth, then Jesus can come back. Wah, wah, wah. Turns out it's an infinite plane. You'll never get there. What? It's like, imagine that. Imagine being sold that nonsense. Well, all you have to do is start the pilgrimage. You'll make it eventually. Just keep chugging, my friend. Hey, well, at least if you're behind the wheel of a party bus, you know, at least you're getting like 7 miles per gallon 5.4 Triton V8, and now it's leaking oil out of the valve covers and whatever, the rear main seal. I bet Val knows all about that. I feel like that was really out of place. Just honking for no reason. Oh man, that's awesome. You guys are hilarious. You guys make me laugh. I'm going back to chat. Let's see what y'all are doing today. Oh, this is Blue Beans, right? So let me just tell you guys a story for those of you guys who don't know. A while ago, it wasn't that long ago, but long enough now, you know, time flies when you're having fun. Wendy called it Project Blue Beans by mistake in chat. And then Pearl wouldn't let her live it down. And I think it's super funny. So now I call it Blue Beans all the time. Like, because to me, it kind of invokes this whole, it's inappropriate, but like, it's like blue balls. You really thought something was going to happen. No, it turns out it was an alien hologram. It sucks. It's like paper mache. You know, I half expect them to bring down some, you guys remember that moon landing fiasco? I half expect them to bring out the paper mache and popsicle sticks lander, and it comes in, and then Barack Obama gets off of it. It's like Barack Obama, Trump, you know how buddy-buddy they've been lately? It's going to turn out, well, actually, it's like a corporation. It's not even aliens. You guys ever seen the Maze Runner movies? It's like that, dude. It's like, oh, your whole life is a lie. But it's not actually aliens. It's just people, and it's because you are not economically viable. You guys are like weird plebeians. The real humans live outside the circle, and now they've come to collect, and so we have to do what they say now. And that means you guys all have to prepare yourself. And like, it's them, like, and so you'll have to do what the aliens request. And they're like snapping on a long rubber glove that like goes up to their elbow. And I'm like, no, no. That's the kind of crap they're trying to do. They're trying to offer us up that you guys remember, like an AI powered data collection. It has nothing to do with any kind of shot. It has to do with, I don't know. I gotta be careful where I'm going with this. Y'all are great. Y'all are hilarious to me. What happened to biblically based? Oh. My cat does not like the horn. I'm sorry. It's pretty loud. It's like my ears are gonna feel it tomorrow. There's gonna be a lot of people like, you know, I really used to like that guy's show. I felt like he had insightful things to say. You know, he kept a pretty calm demeanor. And then it's like 1,000 subs, and I just start ramming the horn. Oh! Oh! One more. Oh! Anyway, sorry about your cat. My cat was trying to get in here earlier, and she was like clawing on the door and meowing for like 20 minutes. And I was like, you can't be in here for this. She like tear down my background or something. I'd be sitting here like talking about something really serious. Well, you guys, as you know, the government has released the information. It's only a matter of time before we're all... And then the whole thing starts coming crashing down on top of me. That technically has happened before. But it wasn't the cat's fault. And Jenny says, my cats are all sleeping right through the horn. They don't even care. They're not affected. Like, what? Party bus, dude. I'm passed out. I got no time for that party bus over there. Yo, what's up, Freya? Welcome in. Don't think I saw you here yet. I think I said Jeffrey, but I didn't say hi, Jeffrey, so welcome in. Freya says, I've been looking into the Stargate AI stuff, government, medical tech, corporation control, trippy stuff. Yeah, I was calling it AI Skynet, but technically Skynet is AI, right? It's funny because I don't know if you guys know this, but like the Matrix and Terminator are the same thing. The person who created them is the same person. They're supposed to be from the same universe. So basically what happens is they invent Skynet, the Terminators take over the world and kill everybody off, and then they create the Matrix. So everyone in the Matrix is living in basically a post-robot apocalypse where the AI took over the world and killed everybody and then reseeded the world. And I don't know if you guys know much about the lore, but there was like an original Matrix where it was like a perfect world, kind of like a play on the Millennial Kingdom. There were people living in this like perfect setup, and the story of the Matrix is that like people didn't believe it. Like people became skeptical and escaped it because they weren't compatible with a perfect world. Everything was going so well and everything was so perfect, and they themselves are not perfect. So existing in that place felt weird to normal people, because it's like, how come everything's perfect and flawless and I can't do anything wrong and everything's just accounted for? And it caused people to go crazy, right? That's kind of the lore of the Matrix. So they made a Matrix that was a little bit more cynical and dark and troubled, so that people would believe it was real life. And all that is a product of exactly where we're at right now. Like, they're like, let's build the AI data center so that we can cure cancer. If we read into this, I think it's called like Animatrix. There's like an anime show, like a movie about it. And I think they probably say it was the government's intention to cure cancer. Like, they'll tell you in like, there's like movie trailer music and like scenes like panning across, and it was like, it started out as something benevolent. All we wanted to do was cure something. Gah! Whoa! You know what I mean? Like, dum 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 dum. Bwam! Like, that's basically my movie trailer for it. He's like, I'll be introducing the cure for cancer. Dun 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 dun. And then the Terminator's coming out. Oh man. Only one of my cats runs at the horn. What audio are you guys listening to this on? What is this plugged into at your house? Your cats are being terrified. Is it just like, our phone's just that good now? You got some guy yelling about nothing in your house right now, and the cat's scared of a horn coming from nowhere. Like, shoo. I love cats though. They really are special. You know, somebody said to me, and I think it's probably true. Well, let's say someone had like a Masonic challenge coin that they got, and it said, we'll be judged by our cats. Someone that I know got that. That's really weird. And we know that ancient Egyptians were all about cats. I definitely believe cats are like a window to the spiritual world. I think that's what the ancients believe. Makes you wonder, dude. Why are you looking over at you? You know what I mean? Cat's like looking at you funny. You ever seen them like look at stuff that's not there? That's the most trippy thing. It's totally common to you like see the cat like, and you're like, dude, what are you looking at? You're freaking me out, man. What's over there? Sandra Moore says, we see them every night in Oregon. One just flew by moments ago. Are you talking about like UFOs and stuff? Oh, yeah. Weird stuff. I think they just admitted lately that all those drones were approved by Biden's FAA. So whatever all the car-sized drones flying around, it turns out it was a nothing burger. I guess is there ever going to be anything cool? I'm starting to get to the point where I think that's the plan, right? Continually disappoint us. It's a missile. Oh, no. It's a drone. It's an alien. And then nothing. So that we're like, dude, come on. Like, it's like The Boy Who Cried Wolf. And then it allows it to get more unhinged, right? Because if a UFO showed up and they're like, it's a UFO, and everyone's like so tired of it, they'll be like, yeah. And then there'll be like 10 UFOs, 50 UFOs, aliens running around, like popping up out of holes in the ground. And then everyone will be like, yo, it's not a joke. There really are aliens. And that'll make it more intense, because it'll be like, they cried wolf. Nobody trusts the news. And then it's like, dude, this isn't the news. This is like everybody you know, like pointing their camera out the window, and there's like a werewolf tearing the freaking trunk apart on their car, and there's like luggage flying everywhere. Like, what's going on, dude? Real werewolf caught on tape. I really do think there are dog men. Apparently, that's like the second most common sighting up here. People just kind of brush that under the rug. Like, we've seen enough Bigfoots that's what you saw. People are like, I saw a large, hairy monster in the woods. Oh, it's just Bigfoot. No big deal. He's like, because a dog man changes things, right? If it's a dog man, all of a sudden there's like some lichen. Like, we're basically like, in like some sort of like, you know, these movies from the early 2000s? Underworld, Rise of the Lycans. Like, it's basically like it's a Resident Evil film, and we're living in it. You don't believe in ghost stories? Well, you're in one. Oh no, another pirate reference. Why? Oh boy. Val says, if I made podcasts, it would be with cats, because they do that. They walk all over. Yeah, those cats are pretty good. I mean, they're different. Everyone's different. I've had good ones. but I've met some pretty bad ones too. The one we have now is like a weird rescue. Like it just showed up here and moved in. And she's nice, and she'd be like meowing. She'd be like trying to rub on me. I'm like, oh, what do you want? And then she bites me. It's like, what is this? You want my attention, but then you want to bite me? Crazy. Adrienne says earbuds. I can imagine that would be pretty tough. Earbuds with me yelling. And there's been a couple of moments where I was actually yelling. It's like, what is going on down the hallway over there? Party bus! The guy like screaming at the end of the hallway. Like I said, that water is just killing tonight. Peter Hamlet. Welcome in, Peter. I don't know if I saw you yet. He says, I feed my alley cats really high quality food. Oh, you got some ferals out there? Or I know what you're saying. Like, they're not really yours, but you care for them. That's nice. Doctor Who says, surrounded by a triangle of cats staring at me as you said that. Yeah, Val says, I do feral cats too. I have 2 colonies. That's so awesome, though. You know what? There's like a very like tangible level of actual dominion you can gain with wild animals. You know, you see it sometimes. People get carried away, and then that gets them like ripped apart. Like there'll be like a guy who can hang out with bears, and the bears don't kill him for like 10 years. And that's obviously people do they get carried away and then they get mauled. And it's like that with feral cats too. Like you can get enough trust where they're like, let you pet them. But then people are like, I'm grabbing you, I'm bringing you in. So it's like obviously with anything, like when you know the sin has expired in the world and we are in the new world, I'm sure it'll be total like free for all, like lay down with lions and stuff, which is really cool. That's always kind of how I imagined the new world would be. But it is cool to see how like even with just you know, like getting on that wavelength of actual selflessness and care, and you think about it, it's a feral animal. It's afraid of you. It would bite you if you grabbed it, usually. It would at least try to get away, and yet it trusts you to feed it and not poison it. Isn't that incredible? So it's like even if you just begin to create a resemblance of the right radiance, like if you resonate the right frequency, as weird as that sounds, it's like it makes them trust you. And you can get quite far with wild animals. You see these people who they have the right frequency, and I know it has to do with like the heart, right? Like they're, you know, when your eye is single, the body's full of light, you know, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, et cetera, et cetera. All of this is like real, like actual law about how the world works. And I think that these animals, you know, they're not people, so they don't have the dominion factor. They're not held to account the same way we are. So they probably just see the world as it is. They can probably see spirits like the cats looking around, and they can probably see the ethereal reverberation of the energy that you're putting out into the world. Like, what are you putting out in the world? Are you mad and grumpy because they raised the price on your car? Or are you driving a party bus and ramming the horn really hard? See, that's the difference. The energy that you put out, what you put out comes back to you. It's totally true. It's like karma, or what goes around comes around, or just, you know. I think that the whole idea of like when your eye is single, your whole body is full of light thing, that's amazing. I think that's an example we can tangibly access, which is that if you treat animals with kindness and you don't fear them and your intentions are good, there's a strong chance they won't get you. Now, obviously, you got to remember that a lot of these animals, it's not just fear, they're hungry and you're tasty. Like imagine going up to a polar bear and being like, I trust you, I won't hurt you, my friend, and like it's gonna be a snack time. But I'm just saying, like it's a window into how the world should be and how it will be when the days are made right. When people get closer to that Jesus attitude, closer than you can have in this fallen world, like that's what I'm saying. You can kind of emulate it. We try our best to be as Christ and love each other and take care of each other. And I think the plants and the animals can tell, and they react to that. You know, I grew a batch of weed one time, and I played music for them, and I spoke to them all the time. And I'll tell you what, I had nugs of weed like as big as my arm, like giant, huge nugs. And it was just in this little tiny grow tent in the house. And like, I'm not bragging about about growing weed, other than to say that these creatures, these living things, can tell if you love them or not. It's just a fact. And that matters. It's not going to fix everything, because how much can you love these animals? Probably not as much as Jesus does. Probably not as much as you could if you were glorified, and ascended and not full of dirt and sin. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is a fair kind of an assessment. Like if you look at the general terror animals have of people, but then you can build trust with them, even wild animals, by feeding them. I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. Continue what you're doing, because those cats need something to eat, Stephen Morris says, my cat just showed up. Oh man, Little Season Fellowship says, I can't do chat and YouTube stuff on my phone. It's difficult. I have 2 phones for a list of reasons, and I'll tell you what, I only ever I'll have one phone on the chat, on the video, and if I have to do anything else, I'm not even gonna try to do anything while I'm on the same phone, because the chat bugs out, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm sitting here and it's like, it seems like no one's chatted anything in a second, and I click it and it goes like 1,000 chats popped up. It was probably streaming when it happened, so you guys probably saw it. Got my phone connected to my Bluetooth speakers turned down to 1. Well, I'm going to make it a loud 1. I think volume is important, obviously, especially if what you're saying is important. Not like anything I'm saying here is that important, but, it's like I was saying about the energy you put out. You guys are all like seekers and truth people, and you guys all know how to have a good time. That's why we make the most out of these kind of like chats and stuff when we're hanging out, we're talking about stuff, and we're just having a good time, because that's the energy. It reciprocates. That's why I call it the party bus, because you feel it when you get in. Everybody's like, yo, what's up? And you feel like you're showing up to something, and that is something that we need to do better than anybody else as a community. And I do my best to do it as well, like to be active, to click the like, to leave comments, like comment more than you even need to. Leave 3 comments on your friend's video, because it is an algorithm. And we're doing battle against it. Like you got people like Mr. Beast, and all these like kids are liking his videos. And it's like Mr. Beast isn't doing anything. But this community is, right? We're learning things. We're growing. We're changing. And I think that like we are kind of like, we understand it. That's why when we like go on Paul's thing, it's like everyone hit like. And there'll be like 45 in, 45 likes. And 150 in, 150 likes. We do a good job of that. And I think that YouTube can tell, because my channel's like been getting more views very quickly. It's starting to show me whereas like when I first started, I knew I was shadow banned. I'd be like, you guys would share it and it would still get no views. I watched that Strangers video when I put it out. It had like 170 views, and I saw the view count go down. How do you lose views on a video? You can't lose views. It's not possible. But I saw it happen. I know it's real, but now, like, so the story so far is like 1,000 views in like 2 days. It's like strangely like, we broke 1,000 subs. Oh, all of a sudden it's legit now. Now it's putting it out to people. That's so funny to me. Like, I think that if anyone can beat the AI algorithm, it's this community, because it looks like, well, whatever they're doing is really exciting and everybody loves it and everybody comes in and then has a good time. And I also think it is important. Yo, what's up, Ezra? Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to see you, Rebecca. I don't know if I've seen you yet either. Welcome in. Yeah, it's important to have a good time. It's important to put out good energy. You know, we all have our down days. I've had mine not that long ago. But, you know, that's like I was saying. This community does a really good job of, like, winning. And that's what we need. I bring it up like this all the time, but I'll say it again for the record. When I was a younger kid, probably like 15, 16, I got really into punk rock music. And I know that I was born in like 94, and punk rock was basically dead for 15 years anyway by then. Maybe 10 years, I don't know. But what we had in this little redneck town was a tiny scene of weird kids with tight pants and weird hair. And we created something there, because we all liked the music and we partied and we were our own little thing. And even though the town is full of like apostolic Lutheran rednecks and a bunch of like, you know, normie kids, and we were all a bunch of weirdos, we created something special. You know, goth kids and anime weebs and little punk rockers and otherwise like, you know, white trash trailer park kids. And we kind of created something different. We were a breakaway sect from the rest of the thing. But what happened was all of these different kids who didn't quite fit in found a place where they belonged. And I think that's what we've created here. I'm not saying you guys are all weirdos, but maybe. The point I'm trying to make is that it transcends our backgrounds. It transcends our beliefs even, to a point, because what we have is this community that has something special that nobody else has. Because at the end of the day, if you're like a fan of Mr. Beast, what do you have in common? We like that guy's show. You know, it's like, if you're a fan of Paul Stobbs, it's because we're members of the kingdom. We're family. We say we're little Seasonists because we're like a special tribe of weird woke people. I don't even like the word woke, but you know what I mean? We're like, it's a special group. It's cool. And people can tell. People come in and it's like, whoa, this is different. This is weird. I felt it the first time I showed up. And then, without having really even done much, Paul invited me on his show because I think he discovered Sunday service. He liked the sound of it. And he said, I want that guy on here. And then it changes the world. That's not how it usually plays out. My life is different now because of this community. I got 1,000 subs. I'm going to be joining YouTube Partner Program. Who knows what the future has? We may go nowhere. I may get 100K subs, dude. I might be out here like doing this for a job in the near future. Wouldn't that be crazy? Don't you think that'd be wild? And look, and don't get me wrong, like we all gotta have money to survive. I'm not saying like I'm in it for the money, but it would be nice to be able to do this for real. I put a lot of energy into this, and you guys have been the ones who paid me. As soon as I got that email from Google saying, hey, you want to get paid for ads? I'm like, dude, we're doing something. It feels like you put your pedal to the metal and then you start smelling burning rubber and seeing the road fly by, and it means something. And I feel like it's amazing to be here with you guys, to have 1,000 subs. Like I said, 10,000 won't be the same. 10,000 will be on a whole new level. We'll be doing something bigger. But it doesn't change how cool this is. And like I said, this is like, we're only gonna get to celebrate this once. So I'm making the most of it, It's like Paul says, we gotta enjoy this while we can. We already felt a little hiccup in the group recently with some weird stuff, some scalawag BS, if you ask me. But the point I'm trying to make is that we have something special and something cool, and we gotta like hold on to it. We gotta hold it, push it, hold the line, encourage one another, and continue to just do what we do because it's really cool, It's like I said, we're all different backgrounds, different ages, different interests. I mean, some people like sports and some people don't. Some people like one kind of music or another. But at the end of the day, we're all members of Christ's kingdom, and you can't serve God and mammon at the same time. So all that other stuff, sports cars, whatever, man. We're all here for the kingdom. Destination kingdom. And how are we getting there? On the little season party bus! Party bus! Party bus! Party bus! Anyway, I feel the need to periodically yell that throughout the stream. Just because, It's going to make it really hard for anyone to forget what this stream was about. All right, Ben. Welcome in, my friend. He says, funny story about Tom DeLong from Blink. I work for a cleaning company. We were cleaning furniture for Tom in Rancho Santa Fe. Very nice part of San Diego. I told Tom to go back to his Cheshire cat. That's funny. That's crazy that, the world has these famous people like that and you can just encounter them because you were doing a cleaning job. What a small world. That's wild. What did Ryan say? As soon as you get that Mercedes, you got to spray paint the name of your Patreon supporters on it. Oh, spray paint? I don't know. Vinyl would be cool, though. Like, I already talked about doing, I'm going to have it say Con Man on the license plate. That's the plan. And then I was going to do one of those little where it's an Instagram logo and the handle for Instagram, maybe a YouTube and Instagram, but Patreon subscribers would be cool. Like once a month we update the window decal and it has the Patreon subscribers on the back window. That would be cool to drive around. People would be like, yo, that's like a thing. That guy's a thing. It's like the cult of Con Man. And I'm like driving that around. It's a conversation starter for sure. A conversation starter. Yeah, dude. I mean, that's kind of mostly the reason I want to get it. As dumb as that is, I love the car. I think it's amazing. But all I'm going to do is just drive it around. That doesn't do anything. If I like put a Griffin badge on it and I change some things, and it's got vinyls and it's like made possible by the cult of Con, and there's like Patreons, like people are going to want to be a part of that, dude. That's what I was getting at about this community being so awesome. It's like people are like, what is that? What are they doing? What are they talking about? And it is like the most unhinged conspiracy cult on the internet. But that's okay, because where else are you going to fit in? You can go to a regular non-denominational church and start asking them what they know about six-fingered giants. Be like, yeah. So since Jesus, means what he says, what do you guys think about the whole idea of like a giant, emerald gold triangular pyramidal trapezoid thing flying out of the heavens and descending down onto a mountain? Like, would that be reasonable? Or is that like, because I never even heard of the millennial reign of Christ. my entire life, dude. I've never even heard that before until like, last couple of years in this community. What does the church, like, if you went to a Christian church and said, so here in the book of Revelation, like it says, then he will reign with his saints for 1,000 years, the devil imprisoned, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Like you point that out. And what do they say? I've been to church a few times. Sometimes I read from like the Gospels or the book of Acts, and there'll be like a teaching. We're not unfamiliar with that. We do it every Sunday. But where is the whole, and they came unto the daughters of men, and they bore giants? Are we just not going to reconcile that, man? Giants. So I'm like talking to my coworkers at work about giants, and they're all like, oh yeah, that's not real though, right? My one coworker was like, but there's no evidence of that, is there? And I was like, of course there's evidence. But then it's like, how do I prove to you that the most reputable historical and scientific institution ever, the Smithsonian, is actually a lie? It's actually a propaganda organization made by a bunch of Talmudists. It's like, did you guys see how right before Joe Biden left office, he gave Medal of Freedom to Bill Nye the Science Guy and George Soros? George Soros! Imagine that. Like, it even just sucks to be Bill Nye, because he's like, all I ever did was like act on children's scientific TV shows. And then all of a sudden you're sharing the stage with like an evil crimes against humanity villain. It's like, well, that about tells us who you are. If I was Bill Nye, I would have been like, I can't accept this award. I just can't do it. Well, why not? It's a great honor, because I don't want to share the stage with that evil Talmudist. I know he's one of them too. Bill Nye. He would fit right in his home country over there. I bet he has dual citizenship. He wouldn't be the first one. Oh boy. Is this channel going to get banned? I don't know. I feel like if I set my bar at Matt Kim podcast, because I've heard them say all kinds of stuff about Israel, and I'm like, if they can say that, then so can I. Jaden Melody says, will I get kicked out for not being Christian? Absolutely not. I would invite you to be here and be a part of this crazy stuff, because the reality is, like, you have to decide for yourself what you believe. The last thing I want to do is make you feel pressured to be evangelized. The only reason that we're into Jesus is because we know him in a different way than the church teaches. Like, if everybody knew the Jesus that we know, everyone would be a Christian, because it's like, wow, all the answers to all the problems, and I don't even have to feel bad anymore. Like, you get to be your real self, your true self, your higher self, Everything we ever did was for something dumb, and we just didn't know it. Like, oh, we wasted our life after the pursuit of money, or we entered into these horrible relationships, or we did all these different, things in quest for stuff that just turned to dust in the end, and we were never satisfied. Somebody said, I think it was Madeline from Leaving Babylon, she was talking about Thailand. It's like the land of smiles, and there's so many people there who have no money, and yet they're happy. And here in America and in the West in general, we have lots of people with lots of money, and they're not happy. They're angry, they're road raging on the highway, they're giving you the middle finger, they're cutting in line, they're lying and cheating and stealing. Those aren't happy people. People who are committing crimes and who are only out for themselves and they can't smile, they can't have fun, they can't have a good time. They're mad because your ears look a certain way, or your hair, or they're mad because you got whatever metal or tattoos all over your face. Like, come on, guys. Like, at some point, you're going to be rotting in the ground. Like, if you don't get incinerated, your face is going to rot off. You're going to be like, you're going to look like shit. Who cares? Like, dude, ear things? My ears are going to be eaten by worms. Like, it doesn't even matter. But see, that's the thing, right? People are missing that. People go to the church because they're like, my life is so bad, I need answers. And they're like, may the peace of God be upon you. Now, please, if you feel so inclined, place some money in the tithe bucket to support this ministry. And it's like, well, what service did you get out of that? They want you to pay for nothing. It's no wonder it's such a ripoff. Sandra Moore, Mama Khan says, I'm still coming to terms with the firmament. How the heck did I miss that? And it says it in the Bible too. Especially like King James or an older version, it's really clear. It's like, and I saw, as it were, Actually, that's not the verbiage. I think that's that's the vision of the throne of God, which is something else I want to talk about in a second. But yeah, it clearly says, let there be a firmament to divide the waters above from the waters below and all that. And it's like very clear. Yeah. Very crazy the church just sidesteps that. But I did hear somebody talking about Aurora Borealis earlier, and I've always kind of thought maybe we all just knew this, but I'll say it for the record. You know, there's a chapter, and I can't remember where. I think it's Revelation, like chapter 5. An emerald rainbow. Revelation 4:3. I don't really want a new international version. Here, let's go over here. It says in, oh, that's not right. I need 4. It says, and he who sat there was like a jasper and a sardius stone in appearance, and there was a rainbow around the throne in appearance like an emerald. An emerald is a green gemstone, so we're talking about a rainbow of green rainbowishness. Which, if you know what that means, it means the Aurora Borealis, Northern Lights. So when we talk about like the throne of God being seated in the north, and like in the North Pole or whatever, and it's obvious, dude. It's like someone who's seen it. I guess it's John the Revelator, I think. Don't quote me on it. He sees the throne. He sees the guy sitting there who's like a glowing gemstone-looking Jesus. Obviously more than you can describe. He's like, he looked like jewelry. I can't really explain it other way. He's like magic and glowing. And then around it was this green rainbow. Like an array of colors from one extreme to another and of varying hues and intensities, but green. That's Aurora Borealis, my dude. And I just think that's really cool. I think that's really cool that the Bible has so much. They chopped it down to 66 books. They cut out all the Apocrypha. They cut out Enoch. They try to manipulate the Old Testament. They do all this weird stuff and try to eventually tell you Paul's an apostate and every dumb thing these people have tried to do, and it does not matter. Jesus just wins the hearts and minds of his people. He wins. If there's anything that Christ should be known for, it's victory, man. He wins. And that's the thing, like, you know, I've been reeling today thinking about some of the stuff that Madeline was talking about on her show about, you know, like reindeer and how they're like a northern species. They're not found anywhere else except for in the northern hemisphere, like close to the North Pole. Reindeer, caribou, like millennial reindeer. Oh my goodness. Like, it never made any sense to me until now how obvious it all is. And then all these animals, right? They do this migration like geese and stuff. Oh, they fly north for the winter, or they fly south for the winter or whatever. Yeah. But it's like, how do we get to the kingdom? Follow God's creations. The fish, the birds, and the reindeer. And all these animals that migrate to the north, to the farthest reaches of the north in the summer and back out again in the winter. And it's almost like there's a magnetic rock that tells you how to get there. Enter through the straight and narrow way. You know, it's super crazy, man. I'm not trying to get too off subject. I'm just saying, like, we live in a crazy world in a crazy time. It's a crazy place. We're all a little crazy. But the truth is more crazy than we would ever have imagined. And what I love about it is how simple it really is. We spend all of our lives getting caught up in all this semantic stuff, trying to figure out all the details. It was like, well, where's the Gog and Magog then? And we're like, we want to know and we should know. But the simplicity of the truth is so beautiful. God made the world. He wanted us to run it for him. We messed up, but he didn't leave us hanging. He sent a good guy. The good guy fixed it. All of it's done. We're riding out the final chapter, this little season. And the whole reason we're here is because we are riding it out on the side seats and the standing on the roof and like hanging out the back door and screaming at the top of the lungs because we are on the little season party bus. And we got over 1,000 weirdos on that bus right now. That's what's so weird. I wonder how many views this will get. I wonder, because it's one of those things. Like, people are going to be like, what's that guy have? What's he discussing today? What kind of topic of material? Nothing. Just running my mouth. But it's good. This is like, I always try to describe it as being like the class clown or like the kid who like drums on the desk and gets thrown out by the teacher. But finally, we all realized that the teacher was full of crap. Like, I was drumming on the desk because the teacher was retarded. I just didn't know it, you know? Woo, it's funny. It's like, you know, my mom always said, she's like, you should have a radio show because you don't know how to stop talking. Like, it's always been that way. Like, I don't know how to shut up, so you should have a radio show. Here we are. You're on it. You don't believe in cult stories? Well, you're in one. That's how it happens, right? It starts out with some guy who's just nice and friendly. Everyone thought he was just a funny, old charismatic dude. Yeah, I like what he says. It sounds pretty intuitive. And the next thing you know, it's like a giant compound in the desert of Africa or something. You know? Federal agents like firebombing your house. Because you know, that guy started a cult. He literally said the church should overthrow the government. That can't be allowed. Jenny says, I think the New Jerusalem could be a massive pyramid. I think that there's a great case for that. I really don't have a either or about how I feel about it. Because the way the dimensions are given, it could be like a cube or a pyramid or even like a disc. Some people have argued it could be like an oblate spheroid. You know what I mean? Like, it's like kind of round but kind of stretched. Lots of ways it could be described. I tend to think just it's complete conjecture. So no evidence for this at all, but I tend to think it's like a UFO, like a flying saucer, because that's what they've shown us all these times. You know what I mean? There's been so many programs to tell us that that's what it looks like. If a giant pyramid shows up, it won't be unbelievable, but it'll be like one of those prism UFOs like you've seen in, like, I don't remember the movie. There's this like Tom Cruise movie where some alien took over humanity and cloned a guy. Spoiler. And there's like a clone of the guy in every district, and he thinks he's the only one patrolling around. Anyway, they have a triangle, like a prism diamond-shaped UFO in that one, but it's like, that's so weird and modern. Everybody knows it's the classic scene from Independence Day. Will Smith is like driving down the road, an alien ship like vaporizes the White House. It's awesome. We need that kind of action in order for people to be scared. It's like, if the White House doesn't get actually vaporized and people are like, oh my God, it's really gone. Like, if that doesn't happen, no one's going to believe anything. They're going to be like, dude, another one of these drone stories. I'm going over to what did I have today? Jimmy John's. I'm going to Jimmy John's to get a sandwich because I ain't got time for this. Rob says, I've mentioned these things to some churchgoers around here and I've been told to stay off the internet. Yeah, that's the thing is, like, unfortunately about most people, they only will accept things under certain, like, delivery. You know what I mean? Like, if they were taught this stuff by, like, in the same way they're indoctrinated, like if the pastor said, we found some information that researchers and scholars at the Institute of Jesus Research or whatever, that's probably not a thing. But anyway, like, if you had the right delivery, people would get it. And I think that's where the whole witness thing comes from. Like, one of my real good friends is like a pagan, totally, like, maybe not religiously pagan, but he's like, I believe in many gods, you know, and good for him, you know, whatever he wants to believe. But it's like, you can't like tell him, you know what, screw off. Your gods are fake. Your gods will be slammed to the ground by Christ. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not invoking a good friendship with anybody. It's like our friend Jaden here. I'm glad to have you here, my friend. You're not getting kicked out. As long as you treat everybody nice and you're enjoying your time on the party bus, like, that's what we're here for. A little seasoned party bus. We're going through a strange time in history and people want to know what's going on. We're over here having fun. So if people want to be all like mad about it, Trump's gonna do a thing, but who cares? Right? Like, it's worth talking about. We talk about it. We stay up to date. We're with the times. We're hip. We're hip young suckers. But the point is that we're having fun because we're not going to let our lives be ruined over some satanic nonsense going on. He's screwed, man. Think about this. Satan thought he had all this under wraps. He had this whole internet, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. You know, if anyone uses that one, I don't know. But we had all these sites and all this stuff going on. And in their effort to control us, they gave us the most powerful tool in the world. We're all sitting here hanging out together, talking about stuff that's completely off limits. But we know enough that we don't need to, like, we don't care what they think. Just say we're all crazy, that's fine. because we're actually doing it. We're getting away with it and it can't be stopped. That's the thing that makes it so awesome, because every day the movement grows. Every day another person starts asking those existential questions again, like we used to ask in the old days. Who are we? What are we doing here? Where do we go when we die? What is the meaning of life? And Jesus Christ provides the answer, the way, it's everything you need. And then it's not just like the church giving you this mythological, accept Jesus in your heart and your world will be magically different. I mean, accepting Jesus in your heart is kind of like declaring war on the whole world. So I wish they were teaching people that. But we're not just fighting a world that we don't belong in. We're moving home. We're going home. You know what I mean? We're packing up and moving back to the dad's house, Like, there's no reason for us to get lost in this prodigal living. We're going to at some point not have any of this stuff. We're going home. And so, like, for me, I'm not investing myself in this. I mean, I do want an SL500, but I said this to Wendy the other day. I might get that thing and have it for like a day or a week, and the earth might just crack open and it falls in, and I'm like, I'll let out one little cry, and then I'm on the way to wherever it is, the pilgrimage or whatever it is, because it's just like, what are you gonna do, man? It's just as easily, it easy comes, easy goes, if God wants you to have something, he'll give it to you. He'll make the path straight, believe me. Sometimes you got to do a little work, and I do believe that Jesus is the kind of guy who understands. He's a man, and he was a man who understood that people had things they needed. Bills come due, guys gotta eat, you know what I mean? So I don't believe for a moment that Jesus expects us all to be poor and emaciated and sick and tired, and I think that's a lie from the enemy to teach us that, well, you've accepted Jesus in your heart, now you can be miserable and suffer because it's the will of God, because if it wasn't, he'd magically fix it, right? Like, it's such a tempting of the Lord, such an illegitimate, faithless way to be. If faith the size of a mustard seed can move a mountain, can we just get even a fraction of a grain of sand enough to not die in poverty? Because here's the reality of it all. If you know who you are, and you know that you belong to Jesus and that you're here for that, and you're here to accomplish some great celestial mission that he literally made you to do, Satan doesn't want to preserve you. He wants you out of here. You're not going to get a life of a bunch of fun and I'm the big rich guy, I'm the head of Hollywood now, I'm the big famous dude. Satan has understood that you are totally not. Once you really enter, they say once saved, always saved, or whatever. It's if you're truly saved, you can't be unsaved. You're not going to escape once you've entered the narrow path. People can stumble and people can pretend they were on it. Well, they walked next to it and then fell off. But if you're really on it, you aren't coming off. You're trapped. He knows his flock. Sheep don't decide, well, I don't like the pen anymore and get to leave. That's not how it works. So if you really are in, you're in. And that reality makes it so there's no going back. And Satan knows that too. So you can't look at the world and be like, well, why am I not succeeding materially? All we can hope for is Jesus. And once you accept it, now you're really in it, because you're not getting anything from the world. Remember, this world hated you because it hated him who came first. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinful men, lest you become weary. I got to remember that too. Sometimes our future does not include an SL500 or 1 million subscribers. But don't for a second believe that the greatest king in the world, the greatest father in the world, would not reward you for your hard work. That he doesn't know what kind of mind he designed you to have, what kind of things actually matter to you. When your heart is right, you'll get what you deserve. Maybe in the kingdom, maybe tomorrow. And maybe the earth will just suck it up the day you get it, who knows? But the attitude is, we are big chillin', super chillin'. And honestly, if you ask me, I have nothing to complain about because we just broke 1,000 subs. How much better can it get? 10,000 subs? I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? Party bus. Oh man, it's been good. I can't believe how close we are to the wire, dude. 2 hours just gone like that. That's what party buses will do to you. You'll look at the clock and it'll be 3 a.m. and you're like, whoa, what? Did we drive all the way around town? It's 14 miles and we stopped at 3 bars. I got wings at 2 different places. That's crazy. Sandra Moore says, the church is full of people Jesus is where it's at. He's the king. Well, you know what I believe too? I believe the church is full of people that the Lord wants to see come into the circle. He wants that party bus to be like a mile long. Jesus wants a party bus so big that there isn't even room in the realm. He's going to have to erase it all and build a whole new heaven and earth to house the size of the party bus. Because we're going to go from little season party bus to mega kingdom party bus. Mega bus. But seriously, you know, it's not just, we're riding little season bus to the kingdom, but there comes a day when we walk off of the little season party bus and we enter the kingdom station. I don't have a sound effect for kingdom station. I imagine it would be like, oh, or something. Jada Melody says, why is it every church I've been to, they always look at me like I'm the devil just because I'm gay? And yes, the truth is that I'm gay and I have been since I can remember. Jaden, my friend, I would love to just have a real like offline chat with you, brother. Like, because I am not here to condemn you at all. I'd like to talk to you about this stuff, my friend. I'd like to talk to you about the troubles that you're facing in life, my friend, because I'm not special or different. I'm a dude who's done all kinds of bad things in my life. I've made all kinds of bad decisions and hurt a lot of people, and I've been a real douche, trust me. But everybody has value. That's the thing that people are mistaking. They look at somebody who's struggling and think, well, that's you. Hate the sin, not the sinner. I don't know how many times that has to be repeated, but, and look, I'm not saying that like you are sin-filled, Jaden. I'm saying that like we're all on a path to discovery and truth. And we're all in a different place on that path. What matters is not where you've been or where you think you're going. What matters is what direction you're facing. Don't look at where you are on the level. Look at where you're facing. Are you looking up or are you looking down, my friend? I recommend that you look up because this party bus is going up, my friend. And I think there's a spot for you right here by me. You can sit right behind me and I'll be like, yo, pass me that water, Jaden. I'm thirsty. I don't got any hands. I'm too busy holding the wheel. I'm white knuckling this thing because we're going 115 miles an hour. The bus doesn't even go that fast. It says like 85 and it's like redlining. Because we're going off the rails. It's the party bus, the little season party bus. Party bus, party bus. Okay, I swear that's probably like the last one I'll do. Maybe I'll do one more. We'll do one more. You get one more before it's over. Yeah, Jaden, I'm sorry about churches, dude. Churches failed most of us too. Those people just don't get it. That's why we're here. So I'm glad you found your way here. I feel like it's pretty divine that you're here, Jaden. Really glad to have you, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Yo, we are down to the wire here. I'm sure you guys can tell it's been an awesome time. I've got no complaints. I'm hyped. But it is about time, right? Some people have to go to work. Some people have to go to sleep. Some people are probably just starting their day. Gosh, I don't even know. The whole like weird time thing with the meridians and stuff. Like my mind is whirling from that whole talk. I recommend, guys, just before we go, I'm just gonna recommend one more time that you take the opportunity to go over to the Leaving Babylon YouTube channel. I'm gonna pull it up really quick and I'm gonna drop the link because I spent my whole day today listening to her, Madeline, discussing her sides of the North. I don't know what you call it, a presentation. She's a great presenter. She got me through my workday today, so just showing love back to her. And yeah, it's just been a great time, guys. Great to have you, Jaden. I'm not a pastor. Don't worry. If you want to just talk like as people, I'd love to talk with you, man. Because like I'm not a pastor. You can call me the cult leader, but it's mostly a joke. All right? Guys, we're down to the wire. Like I said, it's time to get going. Once more, for those of you guys, special thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. Again, if you guys are at all interested in buying a piece of merchandise and showing your support for the show, you can find us here at the Cock Store, spring.com or whatever it's called. I don't even know. This is kind of actually, you can't find this, so I have to give you the link. Oh, shoot. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, hold on. I'm having some technical difficulties with my own inability to operate computers. Well, Jaden, don't be a stranger. Don't feel any pressure. You don't have to talk to me about anything. You're welcome to just like hang out with the crew here. We're happy to have you. There's the store link in the chat for those of you guys who are still here. Once again, everybody, this has been the Main Character Podcast, level 28. This has been the Little Season Party Bus 1,000 subscriber special, all of which is made possible by you guys, the Cult of Con. And for those of you guys who are wondering, I am Con Man, and we'll be back on Sunday. Oh shoot, we got so many shows coming up. Bulge Khalifa on Friday, Sunday Service on Sunday, Guys Gotta Eat on Monday. We will be back next Wednesday for the Main Character Podcast, level 29. And for those of you guys who are members, the brand new episode of The Cult of Cars will be airing soon on Patreon exclusively. I hope to see you guys there. With all of that being said, everybody, that's basically it. Y'all have a great day now. Take it easy, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace.
Now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison.
Party bus!
Go forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth. Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the final battle.
Party bus.
An army whose number is as the sand of the sea.
It's amazing the affirmations that come my way when I fake it until I make it. The truth is waiting, complacent organizations. They say I'm racist, they hating, they making payments on my vacation. I'm the man, I'm the king, I'm rejecting what you think. Rearranging your mentality, got some KOOLAID you can drink. It's a scam, it's a plan, it's a con, and I'm your man. You know I tell it like it is. I hold the secrets in